Watch out, Tater. Good gravy, Jade. I decided to do a little voiceover of a bunch of clips that I took on our first solo trail ride, just in case this helps somebody down the road. I hope it helps you. Come on, Boop. Boop. I thought it might be useful to show a video of how I got Jade ready for our solo trail ride. It's not especially exciting, but that's kind of the point. I was riding alone. I did not anticipate riding alone, but I took Jade somewhere that we've been to probably a dozen times before, so it was a pretty calculated risk. So here what I'm doing is I'm testing out her listening, I guess, like her awareness, where her brain's at. There were 2 other horses that were there, and I actually knew their owner, so we sat and chatted for a while. So she kind of like had buddies, and then right now they're getting trailered up to leave, so that's going on out of the picture. And Jade's biggest, baddest vice, if you can call it that, is her herd boundness. So I was cautiously, keeping that in my head there, that I probably want to work her on the ground throughout that process, no matter what she gives me. And for the most part here, she was really good. So what I'm doing is I'm sending her back and forth, and I use the ducking down as like a big obvious cue for her to slow down. And you can see my arm is a driving aid there. I don't have a whip with me. So that's kind of like that I'm pushing, so I open up my body, open up my shoulder, and then with the opposite hand kind of use that to be the energy to drive her towards that direction that I'm aiming her. And this is a kind of back and forth test to see if, I can send her along, have her start to use her body, and then also stop when I ask her to, which sounds simple, and at home it usually is pretty simple. But when you have a fit 5-year-old out alone who probably didn't get to go outside that day, not so simple. So we got to a point where she was changing directions for me just fine, and now I threw my lead rope up over her back and started asking her for some of the more, I guess, in-depth sort of tricks that she has. I wouldn't start with this because sometimes when I ask her to spin, she will, get to this point right here where she's facing away and go, "Oh, look at that over there," and sprint away. And I can't blame her. She's a 5-year-old, and there's no other horse here. So, yeah, I wouldn't start with that, but it's, in my toolbox, I guess, here as like a next thing to try out. So now we're backing. So let's see, I've gone through the back and forth, lunging, small circles. We've done side passing, we've done our spinning, and now we're backing up. And these are all things that I do with Jade over and over and over at home. So it's, that's kind of the secret to being able to do it out away. And this is a really prime example of why I do positive reinforcement. Is it unnecessary at home? Probably. But like, here I am out where she's got no other horses in sight. The only other horses she saw left. Big trigger for her. I've seen this horse jump out of multiple pastures because of being alone, break several gates, slide across the road after falling, getting out, So I mean, she's a very serious case of herd boundness. So yeah, it's nice to have all those tools ready and have the positive reinforcement at the ready, and her know that that's there because she is so food motivated. So here, this is, I started to give her a little bit more freedom. Ask her to do some circles at Liberty, and she was able to go one direction pretty okay. She did catch wind of, being off the line, and that's okay. I was able to shut this arena, and we had already established, you see her chewing there because I probably gave her a treat for coming back. We'd already established I have a bunch of cookies, and that makes Jade go, okay, well, probably not going to go too far from you.
Who's a good girl? Yeah, I know. It's hard. It's hard being a Jade. So I'll just try and see if I can get her to kind of organically start it with me here. Do not roll. Not with that. Jados! Probably should have just taken the saddle off and let her roll. She is dying for it. But, oh well. It's good for her to wait for now. Jados! Good girl! So I did duck down, so I did ask her to come in. So the park is set up with festivity stuff, which is super fun. I ended up being here alone. I guess it's not a problem.